Way. Today I want to share with you a story about a church in Oregon. You see, a while back I did a few videos about some churches up here in Canada that were behaving in ways that seemed to me to be a little inwardly focused, we'll say. During the pandemic, when restrictions were being put in place, churches were told to close. Don't come together. You can't do it safely. You have a spike in your area, and we need to flatten that spike. So we're gonna. You can gather online, you can gather over the phone, but you just can't gather in person in your buildings. Most churches accepted that. We happily did it for our neighbors, but some didn't, and they raised a fuss. And in one of the videos I talked about a church here in Nova Scotia, I made mention that their neighbors have come forward. And actually, I believe if you look in the comments of that video, neighbors were writing in those comments that we're afraid of these congregations. We're afraid of this particular church. We're afraid because we see the way they're acting. We're afraid because we hear what they believe. But this church in Oregon that I'm going to tell you about, St. Timothy's Episcopal Church in Brookings, Oregon, 29 of their neighbors signed a petition, brought it in front of their city council. And they want their city council to stop St. Timothy's from doing what they're doing because they're afraid. You see, what St. Timothy's is doing is causing the neighborhood some stress. And those people, they want it stopped. They want the town to step in and put restrictions in place, put regulations in place, require more permits to be filled out, put new laws in place, whatever it takes to stop the congregation at St. Timothy's from doing what they're doing. One neighbor said, "I'm afraid to be in my house because of what's going on over there, because of what they're doing over there." And St. Timothy's is saying, we can't stop. We can't not do this. We have to do this. The Bible tells us to do this. The gospel tells us to do this. Jesus, in his words, tells us to do this. We have to do it. We can't stop doing this. We won't stop doing this. Please don't try to make us stop doing this. St. Timothy's and their vicar also has the full backing of their bishop. So even their bishop, the head of their diocese, is saying, no, St. Timothy's has to keep going. They got to keep going in this direction. They're doing the right thing. They can't give up. So here I am reading an article about a church in Oregon, an Episcopal church in Oregon, who are making their neighbors uncomfortable. And I've spoken out against churches making their neighbors uncomfortable. I've made mention that our testimony to the world is how people will come to see God. The world is watching us. Our actions matter. And we shouldn't be in a place where we are scaring our neighbors. Because that offers a testimony that God is somehow scary, that God is somehow some kind of monster. So why then am I not upset with St. Timothy's? I'm going to include an article, the article that I read in the description. But I'm not upset with St. Timothy's because what they're doing isn't about them. You see, those other churches, while they might say, well, we're standing up for the rights of everybody, they're standing up for their rights. Sure, we might all get lumped in, but they are standing up for themselves, first and foremost. What they are doing, what they are saying, what they are claiming, what they desire is for them. Ultimately, if they were to get their way, it benefits them. Again, they might say it benefits everybody, but it benefits them. What St. Timothy's is doing, it does not benefit them. As a matter of fact, what St. Timothy's is doing benefits the people in their community who are the hardest off, the most vulnerable people in their community. Because what St. Timothy is doing is they are running a soup kitchen 6 days a week out of their parish. They provide space in their parking lots for the maximum number of people, and I believe that number is 3 if I read the article correctly, where people can park and stay. They provide a facility. They provide their facilities so that people can get cleaned up, so they can grab a shower. They can take care of themselves. They can feel good about themselves. They can have a hot meal, a hot, nutritious meal. When the pandemic hit, before the pandemic, they would do it once a week. All the other churches in town contributed so that people were taken care of. Since the pandemic hit, all the other churches have sort of stopped doing it. But St. Timothy, they couldn't let it go. They took on the responsibility of those other meals. You see, what this church is doing, what this congregation is doing, what these Christians are doing, is they are taking care of their brothers and their sisters. There is no quantitative benefit for them. Now, yes, they are absolutely able to feel the reward of living their purpose. They are able to feel the reward of loving their neighbor as themselves. They are able to feel rewarded by doing this incredible, wonderful work. They feel rewarded, as the lawyer of the diocese said, because they are sharing the gospel with every shower, with every meal, with every parking spot. But this isn't going to put money in the coffers, I suspect. This isn't about them. They want to take care of people. They want to take care of people in their community who need it most. In both of these cases, neighbors are afraid. In one case, neighbors are afraid because the church in their neighborhood is acting in a way that is self-centered. They're acting to protect their own interests. In this case in Oregon, Brookings, Oregon, the neighbors are afraid because the church is acting to try to help the people around them. They're acting in the interests of the poorest in their area. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. I pray for ministries like St. Timothy's. I pray you will pray with me for ministries like St. Timothy's, that they can find solutions to the problems that are occurring, to those issues that are arising from the work that they're doing, so that the work itself may grow to be an even greater benefit to those who they are helping. Amen.